Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's The 9 Day Soulmate Plan Book Club. I'm so excited to see you. I'm Sarika Jain, love and relationship coach and founder of Dream Relationship Coaching and author of The 90 Day Soulmate Plan. Get out of your own way and attract the higher love you deserve. This is my baby. This is my fourth baby. I had this baby at the same time as my newborn. I have a 4-month-old baby named Thara. So I'm really excited to be going along this journey with you. This book is the culmination of 15 years of experience, personal and with clients, around how to clear your love blocks and get aligned with your dream relationship. And it doesn't have to involve years and years of therapy. You can do it quickly. And I've shared the exact tools and rituals and processes here. Once you get the knowledge and the wisdom through following this process, you will become aligned to meeting your dream soulmate. And I just want to say this isn't medical advice. I should have probably started off with that and also shared it in this book. This is not meant to be medical advice, but rather it's an invitation. So if you feel called to work with someone, a relationship coach, a therapist, anyone else who can help hold space for you while you go through this process, I highly recommend it. Right? Um, Love isn't meant to be a lonely journey. It's meant to be done in partnership. I mean, I've thrived in partnership, in my own love journey. I used to do everything on my own. I'm a go-getter woman, and I've read so many self-help books. But in the area of love, I finally had to get support in my love life. And within 90 days, I met my husband and I followed this process. Okay. So, but it was super powerful and activating to have someone hold space for me to, kind of give me faith and comfort and support and just, help me understand where I could do things slightly better, where I could better focus my time and energy, someone I could spill my heart out to, you know, and I loved it. It was just such a fun experience to partner with someone on the love journey. So if that's something that you're really craving, I've brought on a whole team of coaches into my dream relationship coaching practice, and you can check it out on my website, www.sarikajain.com. And you'll see that I have a couple of coaches and therapists that can support you in this journey. They're well versed in this process because they've been through it themselves. They met their partners, they're leading exquisite, extraordinary lives, and they're all qualified to guide you in your journey. So, highly recommend you check out our new dream relationship coaching practice. You can go to my website, www.sarikajain.com, and you'll see a link at the top that says coaching. And you'll meet all our coaches and therapists, and you'll learn about how we work. So, that being said, I'm going to start off with a 10-minute mindfulness meditation. And this week, we're going to be discussing how to close your X files and make room for the one. Okay, and this is like one of my favorite parts of the book. It's probably one of the toughest, but it's the make or break, right? If you can really get over your ex or your exes, you can open your heart to new love. Okay, so I invite you to close your eyes, and if you can, close any apps, close your email, turn off your phone, and just bring your attention to the present moment. Okay. And I'm going to ring the bell 3 times. Breathing in, I'm aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I'm aware of my out-breath. In Breathing in, I'm aware of the breath entering my nose on my in-breath, feeling my body. Breathing out, I'm aware of the sensations of the out-breath exiting my nose. In, out. Breathing in, I'm aware of my thoughts swirling around in my head. Breathing out, I simply observe them like clouds passing by and bring my attention back to my breath. In, out. Breathing in, I notice the sounds and the sensations around me. Breathing out, I just notice these sounds and sensations around me and bring my attention back to my breath. In, out. Breathing in, I'm aware that this is the present moment. Breathing out, I'm aware that it is the only moment and it's a beautiful moment. In, out. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be peace. May I be free from suffering. May my loved ones be happy. May my loved ones be peace. May my loved ones be free from suffering. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peace. May all beings be free from suffering. And I'm just going to end with a little guided prayer. I invite you to imagine a white light streaming down on you from your higher self. This white light of love, healing, and grace permeating your scalp, filling your eyes, nose, ears, and mouth. This white light flowing down your spine and back, down your arms and hands, filling every cell with the energies of love, healing, and grace. This white light flowing down your throat, into your heart, your chest, your lungs, your breasts, flowing down to your stomach, your gut, your reproductive organs, and other sacred organs. This white light flowing down your legs and feet into Mother Earth, circling her, surrounding her. This white light flowing up your feet, up your legs, and all the way to your heart. You were born out of love by Mother Earth and Father Sky. You are loved deeply for who you are. You're wanted and needed on this planet exactly as you are. Bring your attention to your heart, noticing the sensations of your heartbeat, smiling at your heart, gratitude for your heart, love for your heart. And then bring your attention down to your gut, noticing the sensations arising, lovingly accepting what is. And then bring your attention back to your heart and think of someone or something you were grateful for and an intention for today. And I'll say a prayer. Dear God, dear higher selves of all of us, dear life, dear all beings who've supported our journeys thus far, thank you, thank you, thank you. May we create a unified field between all of us in order to access deepest wisdom from Source. May we align with the energies of love, healing, grace, forgiveness, ecstasy, and surrender. And may we create the conditions to attract a healthy, loving life partnership and other opportunities and abundance into our lives. May we be guided to living to our full self-expression. Thank you. Thank you. You can slowly open your eyes. This is a little prayer that I do before each of my client calls, just to kind of align us with our intentions and just bring, that loving white light into every part of our bodies. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. How was that meditation for you? Just curious, how does it feel for you to meditate? Just notice that. Okay. So I start off on page 175, Heart Freedom, Close Your X-Files and Make Room for the One. And I talk about Carrie from Sex and the City. I mean, how many have you have watched Sex and the City? I watched it voraciously. I spent my 20s and 30s in New York City, and so I was just obsessed about Sex and the City. And to be honest, I love the show, but I also had this like love-hate relationship because every episode made me feel like I just felt depleted at the end. Like I'd feel sad that these women were having so much trouble in their love life. And I could relate because I was having so much trouble in my own love life. And just the choices that they were making and the judgments, their self-criticisms, their coping mechanisms, how it was just like there was a lot of drama and it felt sad. And it was I could relate to it, right? And it was fun to watch Carrie journal, like, what is love? What kind of men, she just had all these musings around dating and all these hypotheses, and it was fun to watch her explore it. Um, but there was this, one scene where she's dating this new guy, Aiden, and he's like a really great guy. Like he's handsome, he's wholesome, he's, like everything a woman could want, but not the smart and successful type of guy that like we're kind of a lot of women are like we're wired to be attracted to the narcissist. And I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, but I'm just saying even though she had a really good guy next to her who was, whom she could have married and had a wonderful life with, she could still only think about Mr. Big. Okay. And it was the scene where like she's with Aiden and his furniture display. He's like a builder. What do they call him? I'm sorry, like a carpenter, right? And like Jesus, actually. And she's really happy, and then Mr. Big walks in with his new girlfriend, I think, and she hides, and she's, like, flabbergasted. Her whole body takes over, right? And, um, and then she ends up sleeping with him, right? She ends up ruining her current relationship with Aiden, um, with her ex. And so, it was just this like really dissatisfying storyline, and yet so many women get caught up in their X-Files, as I call it. They can't get over a past relationship, whether it's asking, why did it happen? What could I have done better? Why did he move on? And so we're gonna close that now. Like, it's time to let it go. It's time to cut cords. It's time to get understanding. It's time to heal whatever needs to be healed from your past relationship so that you can actually move on and open your heart to true love. Okay. So, do you have an inkling that there is still unfinished business lingering from your past? So, I'm on page 176. Whether you're single or in a relationship, unhealed relationships from the past can compromise your future. In my assessment, nearly 66% of women still think of their ex, and their emotions range from annoyance, anger, and hurt to endlessly wondering what they did wrong. So, this is true. I've run a survey of about like 4 or 5,000 women, and I found that 66% of these women have still not closed their X files. So they're still hung up on an ex, or still angry or hurt or sad. So it's not uncommon. Okay. Common wisdom says time heals all things, but as a relationship coach and a woman who's lived through my share of heartbreaks, I've realized it simply isn't the case. Through our relationship disasters, we accumulate baggage and subconscious beliefs about our unworthiness, and we become self doubting and mistrustful, right? Your ego looks for evidence for why you're not lovable, and your breakups prove it, right? And so you're stuck in a loop where you just think you're unworthy of love. We lose a bit of our soul and end up performing in the dating game to find a partner. Scars are formed on every level: physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental. Our hearts become blocked and guarded, risking us to shut down from love altogether. So, this is a real thing, okay? One of the things we don't do so well in our society is learn how to properly get over a relationship or another painful event from our life. There's a whole grieving, forgiveness, and wisdom process we forgo. The question haunts us: what were we supposed to learn? Why did it happen in the first place? What should our relationship be with those who have hurt us? What could we do differently to attract a healthy, loving, lasting relationship? Right? So, one of my biggest fears after my last devastating breakup was, can I trust again? This one's huge, right? I noticed that my heart was closing up and I felt tired and exhausted with life. I began to wear big sunglasses and dark clothing, donning the jaded look. Even though I thought I was ready to start dating again, deep down I had a fear of getting hurt again. If the pain wasn't bad enough the first time round, wouldn't it be the wouldn't it be worse with the next one? These were possibly signals to the universe that I was not ready to be with Mr. Right. So this is important, right? Like, I did want to go back out and start dating again, like going clubbing after my last breakup. But I was so bitter. I was so jaded. And I didn't think I could find love again. Okay. And so those were the signals I was sending out to the universe, right? It was like unprocessed anger and grief and pain and fear. A lot of it was fear, right? Like, would I get hurt again? And I didn't want to get hurt again. So painful, right? So some women know that they are still hooked onto an ex. Comments I've heard from women on how they could be sabotaging their love life include there's there is definitely a lack of trust in guys because of past situations that always repeat themselves. Maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I still have pain from my past heartache. I met someone new recently and I feel unsure. Perhaps I compare the new guy with my last love. Very common. Okay. Even women who are over an ex, they compare their ex with new guys. Like it's pretty common. I'm still hoping my ex will realize he wants me back. That was always me. I've always wanted my exes to come back. Even if I thought that they were the right one for me, they weren't the right one for me. Somehow, like my ego wanted them back, my pain wanted them back. Okay. I'm having trouble meeting quality people and still cannot get over the heartache of my last relationship over a year ago. I still can't get over him, even with therapy and trying to move on. So again, they say time heals all things. It's not true. You have to process before you can move on. I had a breakup 6 months ago, and I'm only now processing the pain and loneliness attached to that. Okay, sometimes right after a breakup, we get busy. We start focusing on work, and we try to push off the pain. We push it under a rug, and then life, throws us a curveball, and then we are faced with even more pain to deal with, and then, so you can try to shove the emotions under a rug, but ultimately they catch up with you. Okay. I'm still somewhat overcoming my past heartache, healing myself to be in love with myself and seeing my own self worth. I think that's beautiful. If you're in that phase, that's actually really great. That means that you're taking this conscious time and effort to love yourself again, which is really what you need to do. Okay. So if any of these resonate for you, you or do they resonate for you? If so, you've been through some real heartache in your life, and I get it. It seems like there's no easy path to finding and attracting love without pain. On average, a person goes through three romantic heartbreaks in their, I'm sorry, three major romantic heartbreaks in their lives, and the pain from each one is real and lasting. Okay. So imagine everyone has had heartbreak. It's not just you. And it accumulates. It doesn't just disappear. Here's the good news for you, love goddess. Your past relationship is your proverbial philosopher's stone through which you become an alchemist, turning your gunk into gold. It's an opportunity to learn about your patterns and the root causes, dealing with unprocessed hurt and pain, and honestly exploring where you were inauthentic, gave up on your power, or hid your truth. So, this is really important. There was a reason why the relationship came into your life, and there's something for you to learn. Okay. It's also a unique chance to take responsibility for your role in the relationships and clear them. This is also important because, when you're in the relationship, you don't really see how you're sabotaging it. But when you take a step back, when you've, done the first part of this book around self love and setting boundaries and communicating your feelings and needs with people, you start to see how you could have been the one sabotaging your past relationship without realizing it. Okay? You might have been too controlling or emotional or had a wobbly foundation upon your relationship became a house of cards. It's better to face it and find the root cause, embrace healthy solutions, and move on. Okay. I'm on page 178. It's time to close your X files. I want to support you in taking that pain, which I call the X files, and transforming it into something beautiful and powerful. Even if you're over an ex, you may still have a block in your heart, a belief about unworthiness, or an energetic cord that needs to be cut. If you're divorced, you may still be recovering from the emotionally wrenching experience of the divorce itself, or have some physical connection with your former spouse, such as sharing custody of your children or disputes over property, for instance. And I just want to say, if you're going through a divorce or have gone through a divorce, it's really powerful to work with a life coach or a breakup coach, someone who can help hold space for you while your emotional space, while you're going through the breakup process, through the divorce process. You know, a divorce lawyer is great, but they can't hold that emotional space that you need. Okay? Many people, many women, especially after a breakup, shove the painful memories under a rug and are almost ready to get back and fight for love as true warriors. In my experience, if you haven't cleared your past on every level, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, you simply can't pave the path for a different type of love that's real and lasting, right? It's important to know that you'll keep creating your patterns over and over unless you've learned the lesson that you needed to learn. Whether your last relationship was a marriage that lasted 10 years or a 2-month rendezvous with a guy you thought was the one, you may still have unresolved issues, but most importantly, you can use that relationship to heal your love blocks and attract the right relationship. It's great. This is your opportunity. I believe that your last relationship has all the information you need to take right actions for attracting a healthy, loving relationship. Okay, it's so fascinating. When my husband and I met, we were both overcoming a bad relationship, or rather, you know, I'd gone through a breakup, and my husband at that time, he was in a relationship, but it was going south, and so we were both like closing our X files and starting to get to know each other, and it was beautiful because it was such a conscious process, and we were holding space for each other. It wasn't like we were each other's therapists or anything, but we would share like what's going on for us as we were closing our X files. Okay, so I'm going to guide you through the beach meditation, okay, which is on page 179. Okay, so I invite you to close your eyes and focus on your breath. Take an inhale and exhale. So imagine that you're on a beach in southern Spain by yourself, wearing a sexy bikini, overlooking the ocean. The waves are sparkling blue, and you hear the waves crashing against the shore. You feel a cool breeze on your skin and the warm sun against your skin, and you hear seagulls in the air, and you feel calm and content. And out of nowhere, a man appears and he asks you what time it is. You look at your watch and you say it's noon. And he sees you're reading a book and he says, "Oh, wow, I just read that book." And he sees a seat next to you and he asks, "Can I join you?" And you look at him and you see he's cute and you say, "Sure." So you begin chatting away about your lives, your interests, what brought you here. And it's almost like you have parallel lives. And so before you know it, the sun is starting to set and he invites you to dinner and you say, "Sure." So you grab your items, put on your sarong, and you walk across the beach to a beautiful Moroccan restaurant overlooking the ocean, filled with candles. And you find a seat at the balcony. You order food and wine and begin chatting away about your childhoods, your fears, your desires, sometimes even eating in silence. And before you know it, it's midnight and you say, "Oh my God, I gotta go. I have a flight to catch tomorrow morning." And so you settle up and you leave the restaurant and he asks if he can walk you to your hotel and you say, "Sure." So you walk to your hotel and then you reach the front and then you hug and you look at each other and he leans in for a kiss. Just notice the sensations arising, the thoughts, the emotions, and then slowly open your eyes. Okay. So, what came up for you? What emotions? What thoughts? What sensations? What physical sensations came up for you? Okay. And journal those down. Okay. So, this exercise helps clarify what feelings you would have, what narrative you would have in that moment when the guy is coming in to kiss you. Okay. This kind of shows the energy or the signals that you're giving out to the universe about how ready you are to receive this kind of love. Okay. So, yeah, do some journaling around what you can learn from your relationships and your X files. And then I go on to page 180, which is around the anatomy of a breakup. So, this is really cool. Okay. So, a lot of times we just think, oh, a guy just broke up with us out of nowhere, or, you're just done with someone and you're like, I just need to break up. Right. But a breakup is a slow process. It's actually first a couple loses emotional connection, and then mental connection, and then sexual connection, and then physical connection, right? It's like it's a step-by-step process, which you might not realize at the time, but you'll see like you start disconnecting from a person or they're disconnecting from you. So it's rarely something that happens overnight. Okay. And this is why I really emphasize emotional connection with a partner as the most important connection you can have with someone. It's not mental, it's not physical or sexual, emotional connection. And as women, we have the opportunity to be emotional leaders. Okay. But I just want to say that it's important to recognize why it would never work out with an emotionally unavailable man. Okay. You don't need to try to make things work with someone who's emotionally unavailable. But first, you need to work on emotional availability yourself and learning how to create emotional connection with someone. And yeah, and then from there, you can see whether your guy can emotionally connect with you or not. Okay. And if you need support with this, work with one of our coaches or therapists. They can support you in that. Okay. The ending of a relationship is, of course, terribly painful. When you experience disillusionment or a breakup, there are usually 5 stages of recovering from trauma called catharsis. As I shared earlier, we rarely go through all 5 stages and we find ourselves getting emotionally stuck. Take a look below to see where you might have ended things in a past relationship. Okay. So like where did you end up after your last relationship ended? Okay. The first one is shock and denial. You're wondering if this is even real. Okay. You do things to distract you. You find yourself disassociating from the pain. Maybe even like watching TV, getting involved in work. Okay. And so you might even feel a sense of numbness in your body and disconnection. Okay. And your ego will think that your life has ended. Like that's what it will feel like. When you lose someone, it's whether it's through a breakup or a death or whatever, it just feels like your life is over, right? Because you were so attached to this person. Okay. The second stage is pain and guilt. So when you actually come to terms with the chaos and devastation, you begin to feel the pain. So first there's numbness, and now you can actually start to feel the pain, and you can feel it in your heart. You feel it like the cortisol levels going up in your body, and then that kicks in the shame and the guilt. Maybe people are telling you that you caused the relationship to end. I know for instance, when my last relationship ended, I heard from people like, "Oh, you weren't you ruined it," and I just felt so guilty. You feel like kicking yourself for doing and saying the wrong things, and you might feel like life is unfair, and that's where a lot of people move into victimhood, right? That they're the ones that have been wronged. Okay. And then the third stage is anger. It's anger and bargaining. And this is when, you've finally come to terms with the situation and you feel enraged. You feel like you've been robbed of your dignity, your freedom, and happiness and safety. Your stability's been rocked, right? And you want to revolt. And so this anger, it opens up the portal of anger. And when I've walked through this portal of anger, it brought up everything I was angry about. So it was like I was angry at my ex, but then I was just angry about everything. Like everything that I could be angry about started to come up for me. And sometimes this anger can take over. So it's almost like, you just feel like I felt like a tiger ready to prowl and pounce on someone. So you might want to get even with the person. So I remember I used to try to, get even with my exes to prove to them that that they shouldn't have let me go. You begin fighting to win back the love and connection that you lost, and sometimes even maintaining that sense of sanity. You bargain with the people who've hurt you. And on a deep level, you're angry with yourself. So you might think you're angry at the other person, but really on a deep, deep level, you're angry with yourself. How could you have let this happen to you? Okay. The fourth step, once you've crossed that anger stage, you move into depression, reflection, and loneliness. Okay. You see that there's a sense that everything worth fighting for is now lost, and you have to accept your situation. There is no way out, it seems, and sadness, heartbreak, and confusion are here to stay. It's dark and lonely, and you feel depressed and stuck. Okay. So, in this stage, you feel like there's no way out. But really, like once you process all of this, then you move into the fifth stage, which is acceptance, meaning, and upturn. So once you've gone through the four stages above, there comes a natural turning point when you begin to see a light at the end of the tunnel and new possibilities begin to emerge. You begin seeking meaning and experience something heart opening or even magical. Okay. Really, when one door closes, another door opens. Okay. And it happens when you move into deep acceptance over what happened. Perhaps you're the recipient of an act of kindness, or you come across a book on meditation and it resonates. You become grateful for the things you do have in your life, and you're able to see and understand your role in the past. You're able to appreciate the experience that you did have and gain a greater sense of clarity of what you desire going forward. You recognize that there's something greater at play and that life is inherently kind and loving. When one door shuts, another opens. You've heard the phrase before, and yet you begin to actually see it happen in your life, and you feel a sense of hope and even happiness. You've been through the emotional ringer, and you made it on the other side like a spiritual warrior, a heroine. And so this is like, this is when you know you made it. When you've been through a full catharsis cycle, you've gained wisdom, you've learned to face your shadows, you've faced your emotions, and you've found meaning and insight and even a sense of peace. Like once you've gone through this process, you can actually begin to feel a sense of peace within yourself. Okay. Because it's like going through a dark night of the soul. So sometimes when women are doing this work with me, and we go through closing your X files, they'll experience some of this through this process of closing their X files, and this is something that we work on together. And they move through it, and they find themselves on the other side feeling rejuvenated, like hopeful of new opportunities. And it's so fascinating. Sometimes an ex might call, sometimes you might yeah, you might just hear from an ex. It's so random. And they begin to align with new love possibilities almost instantly. Okay. So for me, the moment I closed my X files is when I met my partner. It was like during that process of closing my X files and kind of like cutting cords. Right after that, I met my husband. Okay. So I share I share a process around how to close your X files on page 183, and this one's really powerful. So, I guide you through a process where you write down different instances of your relationship and you choose 6 negative experiences, 4 positive experiences, and you clarify what your feelings were, what your needs were that were met or not being met. And you also identify what role you played. And then you take these instances and you turn it into a letter, a handwritten letter. And I want you to write it as long as possible, right? Like make it 20 pages. It doesn't matter because this is you pouring your heart out, and try to like make it so that you're not blaming the other person. You're just sharing, what happened and how you felt and what you needed, and maybe some ways that you could have been responsible too. Okay. And then the fourth one is, or right, and then you put it under your mattress for a couple of days, and then you do this prayer of Ho'oponopono if that helps you. It's I'm sorry, thank you, I love you. Like just setting the intention of letting go of your ex. Okay. Then on page 185, I share around how to cut cords with your ex. And I've offered that as a guided meditation in my free resources. And then you can end with the prayer that I shared. And yeah. And then I talk about reconciling with your ex on page 187. And and a lot of times you can meet up with your ex after this, right? After you've done this process of cutting cords, writing the letter, burning the letter, whatever. Sometimes women send the letter to their ex. So I've had clients, like I had a client recently who was going through a breakup in her marriage, a divorce, and she finally sent the letter to him, and it took a lot of courage for her, but it was important for her to speak her truth, right? And get resolution. And they had a meaningful conversation after that. Okay. Um, yeah, once you've done this, then you're done. You're done with healing your heart and closing your X files. And that's a huge, huge accomplishment, really huge. And something to be so proud of. Okay. Because after you do this, you have new possibilities. Okay. So on page 187, I share, um, you know, or page 188, I share a rose petal bath. Okay. So this rose petal bath is something you can do to, align yourself with the love energy. Like rose petals are vibrational. It's highly vibrational, and you can align with like the love frequency with doing this rose petal bath. And my healer used to recommend me doing baths all the time with different things, with lemon to take away bitterness, with rose petals, with frankincense. So, you know, just see these baths as something that you can do as a ritual to rejuvenate yourself and align. So during the bath, you do 15 minutes of meditating on your past, then you do 15 minutes of meditating on your present, 15 minutes meditating on your future. And think about water. Water is like water has energy, water has information. So when you're infusing the water with your intentions and you're setting the intention of letting go and creating new possibilities, the water and the elements in the water can support you in that. It's highly sacred. Okay. Also, what women do is they go to the ocean, or what I used to do. I used to love going to the ocean and setting the intention for the water to heal me. Ocean water has minerals and, just it's like divine, right? And it can help take away beliefs, wounds that no longer serve you and could support you in your healing. You can go to baths in this, if you have a town and you have a mineral bath close by, you can use that. Okay. So, congratulations, you've finished the second part of the second step of the 5-step process of calling in your soulmate through this book, The 90-Day Soulmate Plan. And I'll see you next week for step 3, which is discover your wow factor, align with your unique feminine sexual self. Okay. Thank you.